Hello and welcome to Undrafted, a Dynasty game theory podcast brought to you by OTC Fantasy. I am your host, Scott Belanger, a.k.a. Jax Falcone. You can find me on Twitter at Dino Game Theory. This is episode number 248. Let's roll. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've had a lot of time to do a lot of thinking because I haven't done this show in so long. It's been weeks.
Why?
I'm so sorry, people. I'm so sorry. But we're back on the airwaves. And for those of you new listeners, we're going to hit a lot of cool stuff. But today joining me is Zach Galifianakis, Between Two Ferns. No, I see a fern back there, but we're joined by the great Alan Seslowsky from Rotowire. Mr. Alan Seslowsky, welcome back to the program.
Why so long in between shows?
Laziness.
Okay. All right.
Laziness.
Well, it's funny. You're coming on the Sirius XM show as a co-host to do the Dynasty show, and they asked me. They say, because I just type in your name as the guest into the sheet, and they say, "Is it Falcone or Falcone?" Right? Yeah. And I know you get that all the time. So how I answered. Tell me if this is how you answer. I said it's Falcone, like ice cream cone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That seems like the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, and it's a fake name, so really whatever you want to do is totally open. You know, Theo famously calls me Falcone,
right.
Which is, endearing as all get out, and I love that man. So
yeah, did you do your listeners know the Jax Falcone origin story?
I mean, I don't even know if I know the Jax Falcone origin story, so it'd be impossible for them to know anything.
Okay, all right. I mean, is there an elevator pitch? Like, is there a 2-line?
It's not that good. It really, honestly, it's simple. I was on Twitter, and I was not looking to, ironically, gain any attention on Twitter, and so I was just trying to,
ironically,
get in. It's quite ironic that's the guy who was like, hey, everybody's like, I like this guy, But seriously, I was like just trying to fly under the radar. I didn't want to be, anybody. I was just trying to figure out information way back in the day. And then I did get some attention. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to get some attention, I ought to change it back to Scott. And everybody was like, where the fuck did Jax go? I'm like, all right, fine. You guys can have Jax. He's cool.
You were branded.
Anyway. Yeah,
that was it.
He's cool.
You were branded. That was it. I mean, it's a cool name, right?
It's a cool name.
Because obviously when I put it into like the producers and I said that, they go, oh, is that his real name? I said, yes. I just told them yes.
Right. Great. That's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah.
And like I said, people, will call me Scott. People will call me Jax. I'm cool either way. I think, as long as it's, with a respectful tone, then I guess what the hell what am I worried about, right?
Yeah, no, it's a cool name. It's not, I'm with it. So,
yeah.
Falcone.
So I've been thinking a little bit about, we're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff today. We got a lot on the show sheet, but I was thinking just, it's been a little while. It's startup season. I just wanted to sort of tell the people, and I'm going to take 2 minutes and just remind the Dynasty people to be thinking in terms of roster construction. I just was having this sort of daydream, and I didn't put on the show sheet, but it's like, golly, we go through show after show and we do different topics, but this is the most like important thing to understand, because having a defined understanding of what you want to do with roster construction in a given Dynasty league will sort of lead you to other decisions, when to draft this position. Honestly, I was thinking even it's never too late to start to fix roster construction when it comes into a Dynasty league. If you've been in a league for 10 years and the light comes on today, it's okay. You can start making moves that will optimize your roster construction in a given league. And, I know my friend and our contemporaries over at DD Fantasy, Scott Connor, talks about it all the time, but it just can't be overstated. And so I just, I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but I just want to remind the new listeners and the old listeners to think about what that means. And if you don't know what I just said, think even harder about it.
Well, let's go with this, because this is the question that I would want to know if I was listening. Why do you think it's the most important thing? Because I think it's the only edge left in fantasy.
True. Yeah. I mean, well, I think because, you've heard the term roster cloggers. And when you think of like, what the hell's a roster clogger? Well, it's a player that you roster that has almost 0% chance of ever entering your lineup, but yet is taking up a value slot and has no purpose on your roster. A backup wide receiver who, I mean, there's so many of these guys.
I'll give you an example. Right now, Malik Washington is the wide receiver 1 in Miami. He has potential roster clogger written all over him.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose there's the thing with Malik Washington is that actually rostering him does have a little bit of purpose in that if he gets on the field and does something, you can maybe sell on an up. Yeah. You can sell on a spike. But there's guys who are like the 4th or 5th wide receiver, a Pop Douglas, players like that. I mean, and I'm just mentioning him. There's probably even shallower ones. Like he's a bit deep, but he's been on rosters for forever. And it's really, I've had him on rosters where I'm like, God, if he could man the slot and get in there, he'd be fine. And would he? I mean, could he ever even dream of being Wan'Dale Robinson? Probably not. And the Wan'Dale Robinson run out for Wan'Dale Robinson is rare.
Yeah, I have like Rashad Bateman sitting on like every roster. And, when I spent the 107 or 9 on him in drafts, and it's like, never play him. Anytime I do, he sucks.
Yes.
Right? So I think
he's a great example because he's actually a quote unquote starter, right? So this is the type of player that, is capturing value on your roster, but not doing anything for you in any way, shape, or form. Because, it feels like players like that, even when there's an injury above them or ahead of them, I should say, they're still not the guy you wish they be. However, I always use George Halani, he could be a running back 1 in a week. If somehow all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he's going to be starting this week, you're like, put him in. Right. So these running backs you want to, roster dirtier production deeper at the running back position than you do at wide receiver. And for those reasons, when you start to think of it that way, then you start to think of the wide receiver position in a different lens. You're like, hey, how many of these guys can I really play? And that was one of the things that Scott sort of taught me that I now implement in every league is how many wide receiver spots are there? And especially in PPR leagues, how many flex spots are there? And if it's PPR, not a point per carry, because then you're looking at it entirely differently because running backs man those sort of flex spots. But in standard PPR leagues, you're generally going to want a wide receiver in those flexes. Well, if it's 3 wide receivers, 3 flexes, you can't start more than 6 wide receivers. Mm-hmm. So, having 5 studs and sort of a couple of guys to man that last spot or whatever is all you need. If you're rostering 12, 13 wide receivers in a league like that, you're probably wasting roster spots that could otherwise be utilized for backup quarterbacks and backup running backs.
Yet, in every draft we're in this rookie season, right, we're picking Jeremy Bernard. Right. Who's going to end up in that? We're just hitting all those wide receivers. Chris Bell, who everyone likes. I saw him being taken in the first round. But over Emmett Johnson. So do you hold true when you're in a rookie draft? Will you take like a day 3 running back over a or a round 3 wide receiver, even though everyone likes Chris Bell?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We were preaching that. I have 0 Jeremy Bernard. I think I have maybe 1, if 0, Chris Bell out of 23 leagues. Those wide receivers, even though some of them I like, I've basically shied away, Stribling and all these guys. I was vowing that after a certain point of wide receivers, I want to just go away from them and either trade the pick, which was hard to do in this particular draft, but either trade the pick, take a running back, take a quarterback, which that was hard to do too. But, Carson Beck was, I think, much better pick than Jeremy Bernard, and he's dirtier. He's not as, it's not as fun to pick Carson Beck as it is Jeremy Bernard. You can tell yourself a better story about Jeremy Bernard. Hey, man, he's going to be 120 target guy out of the slot, blah, blah, blah. Probably not. But, Carson Beck might actually do one thing that is very valuable. Start an NFL game at the quarterback position.
In Jax's sports book, how many starts would you set the number at for Carson Beck starts in 2026?
That's a great question. If I were the sports book and I was taking money both ways,
where's the number where you're comfortable that that no one's gonna know how to bet it?
3.5 probably.
Oh, I'd take the over there. Give me 7. Give me 6.5. I would set the number at.
There you go. I was gonna say 4.5. So yeah, right. So right.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to get, that's a lot. How much would you pay for a quarterback? If you're rostering just 2 quarterbacks, you have Josh Allen, and then you're just playing like the roulette wheel at the back end of your Superflex Dynasty team. That Carson Beck, I would take him at the 112. I mean, what are you really passing on in a rookie draft? Jeremy Bernard. I saw Elijah Surratt. Maybe if you're lucky, you get one of the day 3 running backs, Singleton. I mean, and again, you could like these guys, but in a lot of the drafts I've been in, they've gone ahead of Carson Beck. So
for sure. Yeah.
No, give me 6 starts with a chance to be the starter for, I mean, he could be the next Davis Mills where he gets 1 year.
Right. Yep. Davis Mills had value. There's obviously downside stories to tell for all of these players, but like I said, there's downside stories to tell about all of them. Jeremy Bernard and Chris Bell's included. Singleton and Coleman, the 2 running backs that were taken at the turn. I'm okay with them. They're not the type of guys you typically want to take at the turn, or at least the 1-2 turn, maybe the 2-3 turn in most drafts. That would be the type of player that you'd take there and be really excited about it. But because there was no quarterback depth and the wide receivers dried up quick, it kind of looked and there was no running backs either. I mean, there's 2 real running backs. I mean, it's just there was no depth this year in terms of skill position that pushed players like Singleton and Coleman into that late second where they belonged.
Dude, Claiborne, the Minnesota rookie, and Katron Allen were going at the 206 in my drafts.
Have to, right? What else can you do?
I mean, right. You're just saying, okay, maybe somebody likes Malachi Fields, right? Or the Giants wide receiver. And you feel good because, he's fast and he's big and Malik Neighbors is hurt. But then, he's a game day inactive week 1. You're like, Jesus Christ. So,
It's really a 1 in 10, 1 in 20 shot you're taking in the second and third round, meaning, to find an actual contributor who's like, dude, he's a top 30 or 40 dynasty asset in 2 years or something. There's almost certainly not going to be one of those types of players. There might be. It could be Malachi Fields. It could be Elijah Surratt. It could be whomever that you want to put out there. It could be any of those guys, but it's probably none. And it's almost certainly not the guy you took. Whoever it is. It's not that guy.
It's literally trying to bet the right roulette number.
Yeah, that's right.
It hits once in a while. It's nice. 36-1. You get the payoff. But
so that's where we go back to, process-wise, Carson Beck, just on starts alone, can reap you, at least some profit back, right? In a lot of situations, even if you are able to take him in the second and then sell for a second. And people say, well, that's not profit. Well, yeah, it was, because you couldn't sell your second round pick for 27 second this year. So that was impossible to do. But if you're able to sort of reap that, that reward, I think that's good enough. And in many cases, you can get more than that. And of course, damn well, Alan, package them up. That's the old way too, right? So you take, Carson Beck with a 27 second and a Garrett Wilson, and you get something else, right?
But maybe you can get a position starter, right? Like you have him here. If somebody needs a quarterback in week
Jacoby
9,
Myers.
There you go. There you go.
Whatever.
Seriously, there you go. I mean, you might be able to
Mike
get.
Evans.
Yeah, I'm saying you might be able to trade him for Derrick Henry to a team that's literally going nowhere. Right.
Bingo.
I mean, I was using that example that Ty Simpson is the correct pick at even as early as the 106. Again, I wouldn't. That's a little early. I know
what you mean.
But he's basically taking a 28 first and putting it in the back pocket because 27 first jacks are way too valuable. Way too valuable.
That's right.
But as I'm saying, at the end of the season, if you're the crappy team, if you're a good team and you have Ty Simpson, and just look at those bottom 3 or 4 teams, they're going to have someone you want. Just throw Ty Simpson on the table.
That's a great call.
So.
We were talking about Ty Simpson in that vein. It's really not a production play at all. It's 100% almost like picking a 28 first. And in a lot of ways, we looked at it as like a 28 first and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe not a first, but not a second, but not a first, but somewhere,
it's a first. The word, when you pick Ty Simpson in the first round of your rookie draft, the worst thing that could happen is that he plays. You absolutely do not want him to play.
That's right. That's absolutely true. That's well said, sir. And on that note, we're going to get to a lot of the stuff I want to talk about, including some very exciting news from me and maybe even from you, but we'll do all that right after this. Welcome back to the program. I'm here with Alan Seslowsky. Alan, please do me a favor and tell me about your awesome show that you're doing on satellite radio and other things that are going on, because you're absolutely killing it.
Yeah, the satellite radio show that we do is called the Dynasty Hour. It's on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays for those who have satellite radio, Channel 87. It's the first 100% Dynasty Fantasy Football show.
Wow.
Jax, yeah, I'm telling you, that channel is great, but they've always catered to the masses, and this is the first time that in their history, they're like, you know what? I've been pitching it for years. Finally, they greenlit it. It does pause on July 3rd because they do go to their redraft format, but they're going to be sprinkling them in. And I don't know when, by the time you hear this, but you're coming on the show, and you'll be, like I told you, coming on the show as a regular, calling in, doing some Dynasty segments when you're available as well. So the Dynasty Hour on Sirius XM.
When am I going on? Next week?
Someone hears this. When's this podcast coming out? It might be today. It might be today.
No, but when's the show? Next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I'm opening. Let's see. Showing you how the sausage is made.
I'm on my schedule.
Where's
my scheduling people? Where's my
people?
Admin assistant. She's
Tuesday, June 23rd. Jax Falcone. Now, if somebody does have satellite radio and they miss it, there is an on-demand section, and you pull it up.
Wow, so exciting! No, this will be out by then. So y'all check me out on satellite radio, June 23rd.
Yeah, not July 23rd. June 23rd.
That'd be late. You missed it. June 23rd.
Even if you miss that, you can, like I said, it's almost like a podcast. They bank it on demand.
You remember fantastic. On demand? I can't wait to go on. It's going to be great. You're killing it. I love that. I agree. I listen to that channel a lot in the car, and sometimes I'm like, I wish they'd get a little deeper. I wish there was some people who would actually talk about the stuff that we think about, a little bit more advanced thinking towards the game of fantasy football, but that's okay. We'll do it on June 23rd, damn it.
Right. And now they're starting to, like this show I've been bringing on, Scott's been on the show, Scott Connor's been on the show. Yes. There's Derek Brown, D-Bro's been on there talking Dynasty. I mean, there's been, Theo, obviously. There's been a Scott Barrett's come on the show. So we are doing when guys that have listened to the channel forever and hear it, and they're like, oh, finally, we're around friends again.
Yes.
Like the deep Dynasty stuff. So.
Absolutely. Well, we're also doing some cool stuff, and OTC FFB, I introduced you to the site. Pretty cool, eh?
Oh, dude. I mean, your listeners know this, but I can't wait for you to introduce this to the other audiences. This is like Toys R Us. That used to be a store that people loved going to.
Right.
I mean, remember KB Toys, all those.
Yeah.
You go in. Yeah. No, this is really good. Like you guys hit it here with all of the tools and it's aesthetically, it's beautiful too. It's clean. So yeah, no, I'm a fan. I'll be talking about this even without you on my programs too. This is good. You guys hit it.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a number of things, Alan, that I think people need to know about. One of the main things, like I'll just hit one thing, like I'm about to be in a dispersal draft. There's actually a dispersal draft tool that you can do a full dispersal draft on this site, live dispersal draft, and it will just push all the rosters directly and immediately into Sleeper.
Oh, you're right, because the biggest pain in the ass about a dispersal draft is the mechanics of it.
Yeah, it's like nobody wants to do it. It's like, dude, what I got to do? Google Sheet or something like that? Like, so you have to have like some geek in there who's like, I'll do the Google Sheet, and you're like, all right, that sounds amazing that you'll do that. That sucks. But this automatically does it, and it literally just pushes in and says you just drafted Saquon Barkley, and it just goes onto your roster. It just happens. It's just incredible. You can choose to do it with or without picks. It's unbelievable. One of my other favorite things, Alan, is how many dynasty leagues are you in? Are you in?
So I was in 41. I pared it down a little bit, so I'm in closer to where you're talking about now, in like the 27-ish, 26.
All right, so you're in 27 leagues, and in those 27 leagues, you look down and you're like, shit, I have 13 Alvin Kamaras. I really want to sell Alvin Kamara, and I got to go into 13 leagues, click my team, click trade, click the other team, click Alvin Kamara, scroll down. Do they have a 27 third? No. Damn it. Oh, they have a 28 third? No. Damn it. Click out, click back in, click the other team, the second team, scroll down. Oh, do they have, and then do this on 13 teams. Ridiculous. You can just go on this. You can say, everywhere I have Alvin Kamara, I want to send a trade to every other manager who has any third round pick and offer that trade right now, and go click, and it'll send it to all of them.
I've actually left players like Alvin Kamara on my roster and let them die there because I was too. Yeah, I would actually say, okay, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to take a dump. I'm going to go do it now, right? So I go do it with the first team, do it with the second team. Then I get like bored or like frustrated.
I can't do this with my life.
I have to wipe, and that's it, man.
I can't do this with my life. I have other things. So now you can just do that. You're just like, like pick a player that you have too much exposure of. Of course, it shows your exposure on there, and click and send to all available. Teams. I did this during startups, and I was able to sell many late first round picks for future first-round picks because I was able to do so with this quickness. If I had 2 or 3 picks in the late first of a given draft, when I'd come up, I just go to bulk trade, send it, go. Wait for responses. I can see if anybody responded. If they didn't respond, I just keep waiting because obviously they didn't decline it, so they haven't seen it. I would just and it would just wait. And as soon as everybody either declined or one accepted, I would then pick my pick or have had traded it. And so many times I had traded it because I also think people see it comes from OTC. They're like, oh shit, he bulk traded that. I want to get it, not someone else. I mean, it's just incredible. It works so well. And it saves you so much time. There's also lineup features. I can't stress enough that if you're not already on there, all it takes is just go in there and put you did it. So clearly you don't have to be, too smart, right?
Even an idiot could do it.
Right.
Yeah, but so it's funny. I'm in a good friend of mine is in a league with you, and I don't think it. And he said that he's like when he saw that you got the first deal, like you traded the 26 for the 27. He said he was so pissed, and he goes, "I didn't even think to do that," or he actually, sorry, the words he uses, "I was too lazy to do that." Mm-hmm. And you know what? Now this is the second part of the story where I'm going to go back and tell him about the tool and tell him how you were lazy too, but you just clicked the button.
Super lazy, bro.
He would literally call, like he told me, because I said I'm going on Jax's podcast. He's like, oh, I know that guy. I'm in a league with him. He was able to pull off that 26 for 27 deal. And he's like, I was very jealous.
Yes, that's what it is. It's ultimately being efficient. There's also a lineup feature. So when it comes to, we haven't even gotten to the season yet. The real efficacy of our tool hasn't even really hit people yet once they are starting their set their lineups and do waivers. All of these things have been simplified through the OTC FFB tool. I pimped it because I don't really do commercials on here for my stuff or for what we're doing, but I believe this stuff is so great that it needs to be shouted about. I will also tell you, Alan, we are not stopping here. It is growing, and there are more great ideas. I will just tell you, there are some other big partners that are on the horizon who are seeing the efficacy of what we're doing, because many of the people who are users of this tool are people who are in a lot of leagues. People who are in a lot of leagues are often content creators or part of big sites, and they're really noticing what we've done. And we just really want to continue to grow and create tools for a lot of different purposes. Let's just put it that way. And we're doing the best we can to partner in the right ways.
And you made it ridiculously cheap for only $50 for a year.
Yes, and that's for all of it. You can still get on for free and use it, but to do everything in the world, it's $50 a year. It's $5 a year.
Yeah, I mean that's cheap. If you like the site, like I've given $50 to like podcasts just like in there just to keep them going,
Right,
like,
exactly. Yes, charity, right?
Not charity, just paying for value, value. No,
exactly.
Seriously, you created something of real value here.
Yes,
I think that it's one thing for you to talk about it. It's another thing for people that actually use it to talk about it. And I know you're making a joke, but you really did create something of real value to the Dynasty players.
Alan, I will say that we believe that it's worth more than we're charging, but we also understand that we want to make it accessible, because really the real genius of this is everybody who's really listening to this should be using it, right? I don't want it to be exclusionary. I want it to be inclusionary, so that's part of it. One of the cool features that I had you take a look at was something that we can talk about because I thought it was kind of neat. Yes. Was there's an ADP tool in there, which I think is pretty cool. It does show current ADP. You can also pull up ADP for given date ranges, so you can see sort of more recently if someone's been spiking or not, and where their ADP has been maybe in the last 10 days or last year or since the draft, or however you want to monkey with it. But it also, in that same page, there's a little year-over-year thing you can click, and you can see, hey, who's gained the most fantasy value over the last year and who's been the biggest fallers over the last year. And I think when you look at some of the names in some of the columns, I think you learn something by doing that. And I asked you to take a peek. What was something that really stuck out for you?
Well, you could see that. What's interesting is if you want to try to predict, I guess basically when you look at like the risers, right, and you say like, oh my God, like this, for example, Drake May is up 40 spots, right, from last year, right? Like I remember, it's like, oh man, I got him in like the third round of like Superflex last year, like the end of the second round, or depending on the draft and the time of the year. Now, I mean, he's pick 1 or pick 2. So it's just like, it forces you to start to say like, all right, who's going to be on the quote cover of the magazine next year, right?
Yeah.
Like, there used to be fantasy magazines. It's like an old thing. But it's funny, like last year, Harold Fannin, who is one of the biggest risers, he was like a third-round rookie pick, and it was like, oh, yeah, I like that guy. Oh, small school. So I think that what it forces you to do is open up your brain to like not what's likely, but what's possible. And I think that opens you up to make better startup draft picks. And then conversely, look at like some of the fallers is like, someone like Travis Hunter, who people were shoving each other. He was a controversial pick, but shoving each other out of the way to get him. And now he's like Dynasty doo-doo. Again, we could discuss that. So it forces you to really like, these were your preconceived thoughts from a year ago, and realize that a lot of chaos is going to happen in fantasy football.
Yeah, it brings me back. You'll love this story. I've told it before, but this was after Amon-Ra's rookie year. I'm in a league with JJ Zachariason, okay? And I hold Amon-Ra. At that time, Amon-Ra was a rising asset, but he was not all the way home yet. He was probably a lot like maybe an Emeka Ibuka is now. Maybe a third, fourth, fifth round.
He was not. I'm telling you,
he wasn't even that high.
Yeah,
right?
He was not that high. He was not a top 12 dynasty receiver.
That's true. Yeah, he was further down. You're absolutely 100% right. Anyway, you get my drift. Maybe like a Luther Burden, actually. That's actually the better corollary. But probably even further down that, but somewhere in there, right? He was a rising asset, but not quite there yet. And the other player that I got to try, I hold Amon-Ra. JJ sends me a player who at that time, if you looked at ADP, if you looked at any ranking services, this player was ranked and had a higher ADP at the same position. You want to take a guess who he sent me? You'll never guess.
So for your Amon-Ra, right?
Yep.
You had Amon-Ra, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm going to guess that he sent you. Did he send you Devontae Adams?
It was Chase Claypool.
Oh my God!
Now listen, I swear on my life, I looked at that trade and I was ready to just say yes, of course, right? Why?
Right.
Well, because it's straight up, and every person in the world, like all of the people, have him ahead. Like that's not like you couldn't have found someone. They were close, but he was ahead. He just was, and I was like, I should take this, right? Like this is the chance to get Chase Claypool. Something inside of me said, resist, don't do this, do not. And I just walked away, and he put his best salesman shoes on and said, what if I did this? And as soon as he started doing that, I said, I think there's my initial gut reaction was right. Walk away, run away, hide under a rock. Do not let this person put the Jedi mind trick on me. And I resisted and held on to Amon-Ra, and the rest is history. And, it changed.
July 22,
right?
July 22, he was wide receiver 31.
There you go.
July of 2022.
There you go. There it is. And I don't know, you could look at what, I'm not looking at it, but you could look at what Claypool was. He was like wide receiver 25 or something. I don't know.
And he'd come off of like a multi-touchdown,
bingo,
like couple games. Yeah. Wow.
Yes. And so
that took my breath away a little bit.
Thank you. You're welcome. But I think, that lesson that was taught to me in that moment was, you can't just look at someone's rankings and go, yep, I should do that. Critical thinking comes in, and these values, there are going to be risers and fallers, and there's going to be players that from today forward move up. And I'm not here to say that I have all those answers, because anybody who says that, that's a liar. But someone that says that to you that you should be thinking about these things, that's an honest person. I'm telling you the truth. You have to think about it in these terms. And I think when you start to do that, it does unearth. I said last year about Harold Fannin, I said, look, I don't know if he's any good, but if he is good, he's going to be a meteor, because what he does is volume receiving. Well, if he gets volume at the NFL level, that's very valuable at the tight end position. Sure enough, that's what he got, right? So the thing he did worked. Now, if the thing he didn't work, he's out of the league and he's a nobody, right?
But I get that. The cost was so, like, it wasn't prohibitive at all. Like, it was just like pick whatever pick you want in the third round, you could have taken him. Like, and sometimes he dripped into the fourth. There was no risk there. But like, and even someone like last year, like Tyler Shook, right?
Yes.
Like, finishes last season as a top 10 QB, but in our rookie drafts, it was like pick 208. You're like, all right, I guess I'll just take him, right? Like, he's a quarterback. So, and I think that's part of our Carson Beck discussion.
Bingo. Yes, yeah. Tyler Shook is the Carson Beck of this, vice versa, right? Carson Beck is the Tyler Shook. I mean, he's ugly. it's, like literally, but yeah, thank you. Sorry. I keep going.
How dare you? How dare you?
No, I love it. It's an ongoing joke. It's fun. I love the guy. We'd say
Chuck?
Looks like Nucky Thompson from Boardwalk Empire.
And that is an awkward looking dude, Nookie
Steve
Thompson.
Buscemi,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I heard you guys doing the whole Shuxedo bit. I thought was great.
Oh,
yeah, no, that was very good.
Shuxedo had me on the ground when he hit it. You know what the tuxedo risk is, right, Alan? Or yes or no?
No.
So if you remember in Step Brothers, when they go for the job interview, in these tuxedos, and Seth Rogen is interviewing them. And he loved them. He was like, "You guys are awesome. Let's do this. We're hiring you. We're doing this whole thing." He was so into the whole thing.
And
then John C. Reilly farted. And then he was like, "Wait a minute. You guys aren't being ironic. You guys are fucking, this is real." Right? And he's like, "You guys get the hell out of my office." And so there was tuxedo risk there. He was drawn in by the tuxedos thinking they were cool, and then found out they were the opposite of cool. That's tuxedo risk in fantasy, where you're like, no, right? It's Shuck. He's a 28-year-old. He just had a good rookie year. He was a bad prospect, but he's good now. And you're
good.
Yeah. And then he's not. You're like, right? What the? I should have seen that.
And by the way, that's a real outcome. Him farting in fantasy football, and just being terrible, right?
Right.
It's. I mean, because think about it. Like a guy like that, the fart would be if the Saints start 1-5.
Right.
He's got 6 interceptions in 5 games, and
yes,
the leash will not be long, and that's the downside of guys that you're taking them in that zone.
Bingo. That's it. If Joe Burrow does the same thing, they start 1-5, has 6 picks. It's his job is in no jeopardy. You know what I mean?
Buy low.
Right. Exactly. So that's just the reality of the sport, and that's the reality of understanding where the trap doors are. And there are definitely some trap doors with Shuck. Although I will say he hasn't been steamed up quite as high as some of the players like him in the past, like even Kenny Pickett after his rookie year.
Yeah, well, Kenny Pickett at least was a first-round pick.
True.
People held on to that thing, right? I think the illusion of a non-top 10 pick has been broken, right? Even Ty Simpson, right? Fine, they took him at pick 13, but if he doesn't play well, that, they're not even going to think about going another direction, So
totally.
And this all started with Josh Rosen. Do you remember that about 6 or 7 years ago?
I sure do.
When they we couldn't believe that a top 10 NFL drafted quarterback was being discarded for Kyler Murray. We were like, they're not going to do that. And then they did it, and that just opened. I mean, maybe there's a little insulation in the true 101, right? Bryce Young was tolerated through some bad stuff. And, if Fernando Mendoza is obviously going to have a very, very long, chance to screw up, or so he'll have Zach Wilson at pick 2 for the Jets. I mean, he got the tolerance, but at some point they just moved on with him. So.
There's a certain amount of leash that you get with the 101 that you don't even get at the, like you have mentioned, at the 102, 103. Yeah. It's really, really hard. I mean, we did see it a little bit with Kyler, but he had been given many chances too. So yeah, I totally agree. And of course, the Kyler took over for Josh Rosen. We see it all the time. So how long the leash is for these quarterbacks, it's just they're so tied to the winning because the owner wants to win, the general manager wants to win, the coach wants to win, and the quarterback has to win. And one of those 4 is getting blamed. And it ain't going to be the owner. He's just going to fire one of the 3 below him. And if the quarterback is a second-round pick, it's easy for them to all go, see, we were wrong about it. He sucks. Let's get him out of here. It's they're not going to be like, well, I'm just a bad coach. So obviously the pressure moves down. But if you're the 101, you're like, you can almost say, no, this guy's a shitty coach, bro. You know what I mean?
Right. There's tolerance, with the 101. There's more. They get that longer leash. But yeah, they drafted Tyler Shuck thinking hey, could this guy be our backup?
Right.
So when you get a starter out of it, it's bonus, and then he'll be the backup for as long as his rookie contract is, and then that's what happened with Davis Mills, right? We keep making that comp, and it's the same thing. He got his 1 year to start. Now he was on the backup circuit. Now he's considered one of the better backups in the league.
Yes. So let's look at some of the players. I think you might have given this some thought.
I did.
Who are some of the players that you think from now forward, like the next 6 months to a year, you can go any position you want, wherever you like to go, that you think might be risers or fallers? Pick any way you think, but just one of the guys that you think might have some movement in the coming months to a year.
I mean, the super obvious one, the one that has the chance to go like nuclear rocket fuel, is Travis Hunter, Jaguars wide receiver, right? Like, in even just like in redrafts, he's like in the 10th or 11th round. I get laughed at if I take him in the 10th round. Right now, I mean, I don't think you can even get a first round pick for him. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah. But I mean, I'm holding on to the fact that the last game we saw him, Jax, was before he got injured. It was a big fantasy game. Yeah. And then there's been some recycled coach speak about how he's going to play more defense. Man, that would just be catastrophic for the the brass that drafted him, that gave up the additional pick, if they don't try to insert him in. Now, it is a little bit worrisome with BTJ still there, and then obviously Parker Washington emerging as like this real rock solid receiver, probably a top 40 receiver in the real NFL. And then, of course, Jacoby Myers, one of your favorites, right? He still eats up a few targets, a couple tight ends there. So it's going to be tough for him to get there. But I think if things break right, I mean, there's too much. We just talked about this with the quarterback position. There's a lot of investment in Travis Hunter, and it could take a while. But I think he's the one that could. I mean, last year at this time, I thought he could enter the Jamar Chase tier. I thought he could knock on it.
It's such a good call, mainly because I don't think anybody agrees with you. Meaning that the value is so suppressed that you can buy him for so cheap that when it happens, or if it were to happen, it would be out of left field in some ways, even though he was the third pick overall of the draft and a lauded, second pick overall and a lauded prospect of, upper echelon, right? So I think you're onto something there. When you said it, I actually thought BTJ is another one, actually, because he was my number one sell last year. Excuse me, at this time. I thought he was quite an obvious one. Again, not because of talent, but because of price. He was like a top 6 dynasty wide receiver. I was like, that's expensive. That feels like his absolute rock solid ceiling. There's no way you're squeezing any juice out of that. So might as well sell him.
That's a good
and
call.
It turned out to be a really great call. Like I said, I did not envision what happened. I thought there was a chance that Travis Hunter could outscore BTJ last year. I would have never guessed what did happen, that BTJ was outscored by Parker Washington. That was not what I thought would happen, but nonetheless, seeing the sort of fragility in the value is what I was looking at, and it led to an outcome that none of us could have foreseen. I think the same thing could happen again this year, where BTJ just sort of turns into 80-90% of what he was in his rookie year.
Let me give you a couple names here, right? Like, if you have Travis Hunter on your team, and I'm trying to get him from you, I'm going to offer you these guys one for one. You tell me if you want Hunter or the guy I'm offering you. And obviously, I'm going to do cross-positional. Would you take Zach Charbonnet for him right now? Right.
There's a roster construction one. Probably not.
Okay. All right. So the answer is no. What if they said Zach Charbonnet's healthy? He's going to be starting week 1 along with their rookie. They have Price.
Yeah, probably. I would, but I don't think that's happening. Right. So Charbonnet's a tough one. Like, Ramondre is probably the one that is like Charbonnet, but isn't. Again, probably not. I'd probably take Ramondre over Hunter.
Okay,
again, it's a tough one because here's the thing: if you're in a shallow league, here's the Travis Hunter thing. If you're in a shallow league, meaning you start 9 and Travis Hunter is back there as like this sort of dice roll, like guy who could just come in and all of a sudden bring me value. I want to keep him rostered. If I'm in a deep league where I'm starving for starters and I'm like, oh my God, Ramondre on this team could really help me, then I'll probably look to make that move. So I'm not going to temper it that way with every answer, but I do want to sort of mention that that's a big factor.
Fair. All right, let me give you another one. And I'll say, like, I think most people that listen to your show probably play in at least start 10.
12 by 10, 12 by 11s,
Yeah, a minimum. So, all right, I'm going to give you 29-year-old David Montgomery. Give me Travis Hunter.
David Montgomery all day.
Okay, all right. So I think we could make a deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's a good dynasty trade because we know David Montgomery's he could end up being like a top 14, top 12 running back this year untouched. Yeah. So, but he's 29.
Yep.
So I think that's a good dynasty trade.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. You get the point.
We just made a deal. Send it through the OTCFFB.
It doesn't even exist that we in this fictitious league that we have. But I think that that's what I'm saying is like I'd be willing. Like I'm confident enough to give away what I think can be real, like a production to get him. And again, this is the Harold Fannin argument. At this point, it doesn't matter. If it hits, it's a meteor. If it doesn't hit, and I like that you said that. I'm going to kind of bring that into my thinking, is that if it doesn't hit, sure, I gave away David Montgomery's production this year. It's probably a little flat after that.
Yes. We always ask, what is the prize if you win, right? If you win the bet on player X, what does that look like, right? And, winning the bet on Travis Hunter, if you win the bet, if you turn it over and it's 100% best outcome of Travis Hunter, he's a top 12 wide receiver in the NFL, right? Like, that is the win. Some of these guys, Rashad Bateman, you win the bet on him, he's still a wide receiver 40 this year, right? You're like, wow, he was awesome, So, right.
Yeah, nobody likes Travis Hunter. And again, I know, I don't want to be wedded to like what I thought last year, but it's just like, it can't. I mean, maybe that one game before he got hurt where it was very fantasy relevant is what's anchoring me to that a little bit.
You got any sells or ones that you think are going to fall?
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about players that are going to fall, I think, again, I like Jaxson Dart, but it's easy to see this not working out, whether it's through injury or, I mean, we've seen what happens when Jaxson Dart gets neutered, right? Like, it was like okay, and I love him. Like, I'm pushing people out of the way to get him, but I was looking at, like, the largest fallers, and Dart's the sexiest one that could fall back. And it just feels very fragile, especially.
I don't want to hear any of your liberal tears on this, all right?
But I do like him. I mean, I talked about there's other fallers, the older running backs, right? Like, how many more years of production are we going to get out of Jonathan Taylor and CMC? Like, those are kind of like obvious ones. Like, when it happens fast. But Jaxson Dart, and I'm just going to spit out and you can talk about, and Trevion Henderson, I could see it not working out, even though. You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of names where I'm just like, those guys zipped up boards, and it was kind of warranted with Dart, but some of the other guys, it's just like, I could see the end coming quick.
Trevion, as much as I love him, and I have had him at top 12 running back in Dynasty, he hasn't been that in production yet. So it's definitely a bet on projection, not a bet on history. So
you just said you like Ramondre.
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible he gets cucked again, and cucked last year was 1,000 yards still, and running back 20 or something. I mean, it wasn't like very, it wasn't awful. But my point is, to your point, that you don't take a guy as a top 12 running back to get RB20 out of him.
And in the playoffs, they really didn't use him. They did not trust him in the real NFL playoffs. That was scary. Like, I thought maybe, because you're right, he did have a nice little run in fantasy where you plugged him in, you were getting some points. It's just easy to see that one. Like, it doesn't feel like a solid asset for where you have to take him. That's all.
Agree.
Yeah.
The Dart one, I think as long as he stays healthy, the rushing upside tethers him a little bit. One of the ones I've been thinking about, and let me know what you think about this one. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, what's that?
A riser or faller, you're going to tell me?
I'm going to hit you with a faller. Mm-hmm. But I will say any riser can be a rookie because, that's the thing about, like, a Casey Concepcion. You could say him. It's like, oh, he's wide receiver 33. If he's good, he'll be the wide receiver. Yes, that's why these rookies are those types of players. Now, we have no idea what they are, but I think Casey Concepcion is a riser. And in that same area, a player by the name of Michael Wilson is being drafted as if he's done something. And really what he did was what Jerry Jeudy did 2 years ago. I've been saying this. It's true. Duty. He played on a high-volume offense where he didn't really do anything in terms of yards per route run. In other words, per route efficiency, he was good, not exceptional. But they ran so many routes and had so many pass attempts in Arizona that even Trey McBride got, 160 targets. Now, Trey McBride's awesome, but if you ask me if he's going to see 150 or 160 targets every year, he's not. That's not going to happen. That's very, very difficult to project. And so for those reasons, I think Michael Wilson, with the return of Marvin Harrison Jr., who was a top 5 NFL draft pick, I think you could see some real regression in the Michael Wilson box score come 2026.
Yeah, I mean, you see people taking Michael Wilson over Marvin Harrison in like best ball. It's crazy, I mean, Dude, I dropped Michael Wilson before the season started. That's like how little confidence I had in him. I mean, it was a roster crunch thing. Like, and I obviously probably should not have done that. But when someone else picked him up right away, I was like, oh, what am I missing here? And then obviously, a month later, he's going off.
Yeah. He's a starter. So, I mean, there's something there. I mean, he's not going to be a zero. Just like, I mean, look, Jerry Jeudy was that kind of guy for me too. It's like, I was all in on Jerry Jeudy after he did it. And then I looked deeper. I'm like, actually, his numbers didn't change. It's just the pass volume of the team changed, and you can actually see that in the numbers for Michael Wilson. And while you're answering, maybe I'll pull it up just to give the listeners an understanding of that.
But you were talking about like rookies that they can only go up. The only one that can't go up is Carnell Tate. I cannot believe he's a top 11 dynasty receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I get it, right? Like, because he's like he was top 5 real NFL draft pick. I mean, all the social media clips I'm watching now look pretty good. It's just hard to like envision that. I don't know. Are you down with that rank? I guess that's the price, right? So you have to take him where the price is, but it just feels like he's got nowhere to go to down. Like last year when I was talking about Travis Hunter, felt like he could knock on the door of that elite tier, unless it's just like he's one of these guys that just pops in the NFL. It feels like he's going to live his life in where like Rome Odunze is now.
No, I'm not necessarily in on
Tate.
Carnell Tate.
Right.
Certainly not at that value as well. For me, it's been like, to me, he's like a T. Higgins, which is
good.
great. It's great. I love it. I love that. But I do think that it's very difficult for him to see ceiling past that. For the guys ahead of that, you either want to see these elite, college producers, or these sort of all-purpose weapons, the guys who are manning the slot all over the place and running routes all over the place. I mean, the slot has become a dirty word, yet that is what has fueled JSN and JSN and Cooper Kupp and their big seasons. Even Jamar Chase and his otherworldly season, they admitted we liked moving him into the slot to get favorable matchups, which is what led me to have Mekhi Lemon as my wide receiver 1. So I'd have him Carnell Tate behind Mekhi Lemon. So I'm with you.
That's good. Yeah, no, I heard you talking up Mekhi Lemon before the draft. You're still with that, though? Is him over Carnell Tate? Okay. Yeah, the reason I think that I've heard get the slot as the dirty word is because I guess there's this fear that there's going to be more 2 wide receiver sets and more tight ends on the field. So the slot receiver. But I said, like, if you're talking about a Jamar Chase type, he's not coming off the field even if he's in the slot. And if you think Mekhi Lemon is this, next Amon-Ra St. Brown, work the middle of the field type of guy, he's not going to come off. The tight end will split out wide, or whoever, Eli Stowers will split out wide,
Yes, we agree. So the slot only players, the players that tend to be like a Wan'Dale Robinson type, even a Jaden Reed. There's a fear that when you're a Jaden Reed type and you can't quite get on the field for 100% of the snaps, that was somewhat the fear with players before, like CeeDee Lamb, like JSN, but that was unfounded because they were first-round picks, much like Mekhi Lemon is. I do suspect Mekhi Lemon will see growth similar to CeeDee Lamb and JSN. Maybe not ceilings as high, but pathways similar.
Yeah, no, your confidence in him is giving me confidence. And I've heard you talk about him all off season long since before, and I was curious because I hadn't heard you talk about Lemon in relative to everything else. And I guess the AJ Brown trade only fueled this for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that was kind of interesting. We talked about it I think you might have heard it because you heard the Shuxedo bit, was the conversation about the changing ADP of Mekhi Lemon that we talked about on the Underground pod. And it was right. He was like going solidly in the 4th round of startups until the NFL draft. When the NFL draft happened, he got picked in the 1st round by a good team and dropped 2 rounds. So people hate the landing spot, whether they hated it because Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown were there, or even if they were projecting A.J. Brown to be traded because of that, but hate the landing spot because of Jalen Hurts and the passing tree there and the volume and all those other legitimate concerns. I still think that it's usually a bad bet to bet against a player you like because of landing spot.
And, there's been recent news. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anything serious that he has like an early hamstring injury. I mean, again, that's going to push the ADP down.
Like that.
Yeah, no, that's not good because you don't want the missing practice time.
I hate that, yeah.
But I was talking to a couple guys that do like best ball drafts, and they're like, I'm not taking Mekhi Lemon. Like, they're just passing on him in these drafts. But obviously, Dynasty, it's a different game.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm with you. What else? What else you got? You got any other risers, fallers? I love this.
Yeah, no, me too. Because it's always like, where are you at on Malik Willis? Because everyone thinks that he's a one-year mercenary, even though he has a multi-year contract, and then they're going to kick his ass to the curb and draft Arch Manning. And I'm like, what if they're like get 7 wins? It's not going to be as easy as you think. Or what if he plays well, they pick early on and they take Jeremiah Smith, right? And they're like, we want, we want to take a chance on Dante Moore. We like Malik Willis. We hope he becomes Malik Willis. So
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the odds against it. I mean, you don't have to really pay for him. He's a throw-in quarterback. You can get him for anything reasonable. I mean, easily in a rookie draft, you can give up the 112 and get Malik Willis.
It should be easy at this point, especially people are souring on Malik Willis big time. And
so could he be a real riser at this time next year?
Absolutely, because here's the thing with Malik Willis, who, like many before him, the statement goes, as a matter of fact, as Malik Willis before Malik Willis, when Malik Willis was a rookie. We said this about Malik Willis, which is if he's on the field, he'll be productive as a fantasy asset. Right?
And he was elite.
On the field. Yes. If he's on the field, he'll be elite and productive as a fantasy asset. Will he be productive enough as an NFL asset to retain employment? I don't know. I don't know. That team could be really bad, Alan.
Everyone, but that's what I'm saying. We always think like, oh, we know which teams are going to be bad, which teams are going to be good, and there's always one or two that surprises. Now, I'll admit that it does, on paper, the pass catching cores, but that's not what we want Malik Willis for, right? We want Malik Willis, and then even in that very small sample with Green Bay, it's not like he came in and they had a whole offense designed for him. It wasn't the Jordan Love offense, and then that coach comes over to Miami and then proactively gives this guy, at least starter money plus a couple of years of security. And this is what I'm thinking is that even if the guy tanks Malik Willis, then all bets are off. But if he plays well, one, either going to keep him or there's going to be a team that's out. Like if Aaron Rodgers retires, he's retiring, and Pittsburgh's out of range, maybe they trade him there. So I think that he's a guy at this time next year. Fine, maybe he never gets above on the rankings, quarterback 19. But like you said, it's a guy like Justin Fields before him, when he's in the lineup, we're ranking him as a top 9 quarterback, top 8 quarterback.
I agree. The thing, Alan, I love the take because there's a lot of different ways to think about it. I just wanted him to have an out for him to be like respected as a top 20-ish quarterback by the NFL. And I feel like that out is very hard for me to envision happening because of how bad the team projects to be. As you point out, that's not guaranteed. This bet feels very similar, of course, in so many ways, the contract, everything about it, the team, the division even, to the Justin Fields bet a year ago.
And we lost that bet.
We lost that bet. Yeah, for sure. We started to win that bet.
It's just like every good gambling story.
Yeah, what we said was true, that if he's on the field, he's good for fantasy. He just was so bad. I do think the coaching was so bad that it didn't help him. But I do think that Justin Fields has a problem that actually Malik Willis, I think, is better at, which is downfield throwing the football. He has been better, actually. Period. Full stop. Mathematically, statistically, has been better throwing the ball down the field than Justin Fields by a clear measure over the last 2 to 3 seasons. Period. So if he's good enough, he just gets this window where he might get another big contract or something to that effect where he's actually a startable player for many years to come. That just feels a little bit more flimsy, Alan, and that's all. So I still am a buyer, but I'm a little bit scared is all.
Yeah, Malik Willis's contract.
Will you hold me?
Come here. Put your head on my boobala. Put it on my breast.
I need to be held, is what I'm saying.
Right.
But go ahead.
But his contract right now, the total, I'm just looking right here. I think it's fully guaranteed in 27 also. So he's either going to he's going to get $21 million. It says cash, fully guaranteed in 27. I know NFL contracts are a little flimsy, but that means that if you're acquiring, the question that you and I are going over is who's going to skyrocket up these rankings and be a real riser this time next year. I think no matter what the outcome, I think short of him being literally the worst quarterback, I think we're in a good spot with him. I mean, and also, do you think that how does that work with Achan? Like, this is good for Achan, or because you've always been you were on Achan early and often.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is it's like, what are we supposed to do about all this, right? It's like, Achan also feels scary now. I mean, we have sort of said that with Achan, or is it ETN? I'm not sure how you say his name now. But
we're changing his name too now.
I think
he goes to ETN and Achan goes to. Oh my god!
Yeah,
that would be the best.
They did that.
That would be the best. If he gave Devon Achan came and said, "I'm Devon ETN," that would be the best.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Well, that's good. No,
yeah,
for real though. I mean,
like that.
Is he lower value or is he buyable? Is that really what
I felt like Achan was always the guy that, like, no matter the situation, he's great, because if you're ahead and they're running, he'll get running attempts and score touchdowns. If they're behind, then he's unbelievable target rate on dump offs. And I think that could definitely happen with Malik, who has no other real weapons, where he's just sort of looking around going, all right, fuck it, give it Achan, let him run for a few and just kind of try and matriculate the ball down the field in that manner, which may be their best bet for big plays and sort of, conversion. So I do think Achan will be fine, but, the offense doesn't project to score a ton. So it's not going to be through touchdowns. I think it's through targets.
Yeah, and again, I think that's very reasonable. And again, that's the likely outcome. But I think that, as we talked about earlier, it's like it's not about what's likely; it's about what you said is what happens if we win the bet.
Yeah.
And I think that So I'm surprised that Malik Willis. I understand the skepticism, but I think that this time next year he's going to be what we call a real riser.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Fair. I'm excited for him. Who else you got what about a loser? Give me a loser.
Oh, loser. I mean, I just traded for Jonathon Taylor, and I'm scared to death after this year, man. I'll tell you the trade I did, and I hated it the minute I traded away, and I'm in win now mode. It was a startup. It was during the startup. We had about the first 15 rounds done. I think Brees was like I went running back heavy, so I traded away Brees and a 27-second for Jonathon Taylor in like a fourth or something. So basically, I paid the iron price, which I immediately regretted. Now, I intend on being a Final Four team, so that's going to be picked 9, 10, 11, or 12, right?
Sure.
I think because I have all the win now guys. So, one, you hate that trade, right? You'd rather have Brees in the pick.
Yeah, I mean, generally, running back for running back, I like the profit side.
Yeah, no, as soon as I made it, it goes against all the content I listen to, like with you and all the people that understand the mechanics of Dynasty. But I just got greedy. I said, he's a Jet, and I'm going to get Jonathon Taylor, and I'm going to win this year. But that's not how it works. And the second round pick feels like a poker chip. It doesn't feel like it's worth anything until I realize it's missing out of my queue.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, I mean, anytime I can trade running back for running back and get the profit, I tend to want to do that.
I screwed that up. So Taylor is a faller, basically.
Almost any time. Look, running backs are super difficult to hold value because they get old fast. In the running back world, except if you're Derrick Henry, right? Like
he's an outlier, though.
How has he not gotten old, right? Like
it's Frank Gore.
It's unbelievable. So there's a few guys that are outliers like that, but most of these running backs, the cliff happens fast. I mean, Joe Mixon 2 years ago was like, oh yeah. I mean, I traded for him, not last year, the end of the year before, for a playoff run because he was the hotness. He was a win now piece. He's never played for my team except one game that I lost a playoff game. Right.
I have the same experience. I gave away Travis Etienne for him.
Right. So did we predict that? We can't. No. And so running backs can often do that.
So Taylor, like you said, with that cliff, I traded for him. I think he could be a fuller. But really, the running back who I think is going to be wiped off, like evaporated, I think is Bucky Irving. He's in real danger, Jax. He's in real danger. Kenna Gainwell, they signed him for about $7 million a year. What did Gainwell do last year? He shoved Jaylen Warren out of the way. Right, one of the more efficient guys was about 4.7-ish per carry. I think that people are looking at this as like a 70-30. I think this is going to be like 60-40 towards Gainwell. Who the hell is Bucky Irving? Right, that he doesn't have any tenure with this group of coaches and things. So I think he's in real danger of being evaporated.
Wow. We don't disagree. This one, Bucky Irving feels super scary. to roster right now. He's supposedly young, and for that reason, he's very expensive as a running back. Yet, he feels so fragile for a lot of reasons. His size makes him technically smaller and potentially more actually fragile to injury, which is not what I meant, but that's even on the list. He was a later round pick, which makes him a little bit more fragile due to draft capital and team investment, which wasn't even really what you were talking about. To throw on top of that, the Kenny Gainwell, who I've been arguing, me personally, myself, have been arguing that Kenny Gainwell's awesome, like his whole career. And, when people ask me, do I like Kenny Gainwell, the whole time I always be like, I think he's awesome. But unfortunately, the NFL doesn't agree. That's what I've been my take for like 5 years on this guy, because it feels like nobody is willing to give him even a secondary role until last year, which everybody saw as like, oh, wait, he is awesome and can play. And he probably played the perfect role, which, by the way, if he plays that exact role in this offense, hurts Bucky Irving big time. So I agree. For all of those reasons. And Sean Tucker exists, who's pretty good. So it's not like I think he's a specific threat, but he's at least worthy to get on the football field. And when you have Kenny Gainwell and Sean Tucker, who are both worthy to play, Bucky, who has not been a volume pass catcher, boy, oh boy, there could be some outs where he is just a middling running back 2 or maybe even worse, and that's not going to be good enough at the price you're paying, which is top 12-ish running back in Dynasty. Yeah, I'd be all hands off.
Right now, the consensus rankings, I mean, he's dropped 14 spots, so he's down to RB 19. But listen to this. Listen to the 5 running backs, Jax, that are below him in the consensus rankings, and I know you'd want them all: Javonte Williams or Bucky Irving.
That's close, but Javante's pretty good.
He's locked in for 2 years.
He's locked in.
Yeah. Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne for sure.
Yeah. How about this one? This one gets a little tricky because this is projection. So Bucky Irving, 23.8 years old, or Bashal Tutin?
Bashal Tutin.
Wow. Okay. Go there for a second. Why are you so confident with Bashal?
I mean, what are we worried about with Bashal Tutin? Like, I mean, look, here's the thing. This is another one of those, if you win the bet, what do you win? Well, you win one of the most explosive players in the NFL is what you win. So on one of the best offenses in the NFL, a player who they were trusting at the goal line last year. So in his rookie season, when he was playing behind Travis Etienne, who they, with the swiftness, traded away, and then opened the door for Bashal Tutin, didn't draft a running back, and the only person they brought in was Chris Rodriguez, who somehow or another turned into Derrick Henry this offseason. I didn't know that happened.
He's already
It's
hurt.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just didn't see that coming. As a matter of fact, when I saw Chris Rodriguez go there, I was like, well, this is really good for Bashal Tutin,
right.
was my initial thought. And then everybody was like, well, this sucks for Bashal Tutin. I'm like, wait, explain that to me like I'm 5 years old. I always say this. Every team has 4 or 5 running backs on the roster, at least 3 active. Every team. What other running back room would you rather he be a part of? Like, this is the best one in the NFL. So I would have
been more scared had Liam Cohen brought Rachaad White in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then they also there's some talk about LaQuint Allen. I've heard that he's like this is going to be a 3-headed monster. So you know what it is, like Bashal Tutin was good in the short yardage stuff and the sample we saw him, but I think because a lot of dynasty players, I know you don't play like this, you don't need to see it first. Right?
Correct.
You just need to figure out the path. I didn't realize this. I thought most people thought like this, Jax. Most people need to see it and then for multiple weeks.
Yes.
And they're okay paying like the higher price. Like right now, like I always tell them I'd pay the $112 for Bashal Tutin, no problem. Someone's like, what, you would? You know? And I'm like, oh, no, like it's gonna be worth the $105 in a month, 3 months from now. So
yes.
And then, of course, it could be wrong.
The thing with Bashal Tutin is one of those things like, well, yeah, LaQuint Allen is a solid pass catcher. Chris Rodriguez is a great first and second down, grinder back. Probably pretty useful at the goal line and probably pretty reliable, stout, and strong. I get all that. Okay, great. But the only way that Bashal Tutin fails at this point, given the depth chart that exists around him, is if he's not good. Well, if he's not good, then he was never going to be good. But if he is good, again, it's what you win if you turn the card over and it's a win. If you win, there is nobody standing in his way. LaQuint Allen, what team is LaQuint Allen getting traded to where you're like, fuck, he's not over anybody. Like, he's not. Like, I mean, I'm not even an anti-LaQuint Allen. He's probably pretty good, but like everybody has a role on the team. You know, there's always a couple of guys that do stuff. But in terms of LaQuint Allen wrestling away a starting role from Bashal Tutin, if he's actually good, is impossible. The only way it happens is if Bashal gets hurt or if he's terrible, which I don't think, if he's terrible, they wouldn't have acted this way this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, this started off as like a Bucky Irving conversation. And here's our point. Like, these guys are ranked below him in the consensus Dynasty rankings. And you and I would be like, oh, yeah, but I mean, even like the older productive running backs are below Bucky. Like, you know, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. I understand that's like an age thing. DeAndre Swift. Again, I realize Bucky Irving had a very good, higher than expected rookie year. But last year, when he was going like in the second round of redraft, I mean, give me a break. I mean, that was like an obvious one. If you got him in your rookie draft in the third and fourth round, it's a dynasty win. But man, I would take, I mean, any of those older running backs now.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, I would take all of those other running backs at their value over him. You know, when you talk about, you know, if I'm in a startup, I'm passing on Bucky Irving. You know, unless he really falls, we're like, whoa, why is he still here? Maybe I'll consider him, but I'm definitely not going to be the first person to consider drafting Bucky Irving in a startup. And I don't really, you know, I like I said, I'd much rather trade for like, I'd rather go Bucky Irving and one of those guys further down plus something. You know, gosh, if you get Bashal plus a second, you know what I mean? That's the type of deals that are probably out there, maybe a little less now, but they were certainly there, you know, a month ago for sure.
Here's where he went. I just did a startup with a bunch of the guys over at like Football Guys, and Bashal Tutin went at the 7-3. This is super flex, right? And there's a nice tight end premium too. And then Bucky goes at the next running back, but at the 803. So a full round later. And then here's the running backs that went after him, just so you can have some context. Jonathan Brooks, who there's some hope there, right? Derrick Henry, and then Josh Jacobs, right, where we're talking about, right? And then RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift. So Irving has fallen quite a bit from where he was, but man, just some of the other position players, like, would you take Bucky Irving or take a chance on like Kyler Murray? Like, that's who went back-to-back in this draft.
Boy.
It's interesting, right? I mean, what happens if you flip it over and you're right on Kyler Murray? You got yourself a starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's definitely a structure at that point. I mean, if you have to draft Kyler Murray, I don't love drafting Kyler Murray if I have to, you know. But who else went just after? Keep going.
Sadiq, Parker Washington. When I took him 4 picks after Bucky Irving was off.
Wow, he's fallen then. What pick was that again?
It was 8.3.
Wow, that's pretty late.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Late. Like, you know, people are, maybe this draft was off him, but you know, someone that. Yeah, I mean, he goes.
Here, I'll pull up some trades from the Bucky Irving database on OTC FFB. Okay. Bucky Irving, basically, or Jalen Waddle.
Waddle,
right? It was actually Irving and Kmet for Waddle in 404, which is
I mean that's the Kmet part. Nobody.
Bucky Irving and a 29 second or CJ Stroud.
29 second.
Yeah. So Bucky Irving and a wink wink or Stroud.
Yeah. Like I mean, you got to take Stroud if it's super flex.
Agree.
Right?
Yeah. Here's a good one. Bucky Irving and a 27 first. Let's just assume it's mid. Okay. Bucky Irving and a 27 first for CeeDee Lamb and Geno Smith.
I mean, that's a CeeDee Lamb. Oh, the 27 for right. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so let's call it the 105 and Bucky for CeeDee. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb, but that's fair.
It's close. That's getting close. But just to the point now, you're basically only looking at like the first versus CeeDee Lamb and like valuing Bucky slightly. You know, he was recently traded for a 27 first. Obviously, 27 first all day long.
You got it. Yeah. No, listen, Bucky is, I think the Bucky hate right here is just based on where he was last year, and then all of the signs pointed to that he's probably going to be like DeAndre Swift, which is perfectly happy to have him in your lineup. You could start him every week, but at the same time, man, I think his days of being like considered a top 12 running back in Dynasty, I mean, that's gone.
Here's a couple that happened. So Bucky Irving in a 27 second. And Bucky Irving in a 27 second, 2 times. Once for Breece Hall, once for Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I mean that's the right price, right? I mean, and by the way, Walker versus Hall, it's almost like those guys have been neck and neck their whole dynasty career.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, just like you pointed out, actually Bucky Irving was traded straight up for Parker Washington, so you're not that far off.
Yeah, I mean ADP wise in this startup that we just finished like a week and a half ago. I mean, I was, and you know what? If Parker Washington was taken, I probably would take Bucky Irving. So yeah, I mean, I like that you pointed out that it's a true structure thing with, you talked about it in terms of Kyler Murray, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, because if I don't need Kyler Murray, I don't want to have to draft Kyler Murray. But if I've gotten to a point where Kyler Murray all of a sudden is a power QB2 for me, when I've got the rest of my roster filled out, I like Kyler Murray in that role. Yeah. In certain builds for sure. I do like CJ Stroud as a real. I mean, he's going super late, bro.
Yeah.
No, where did he go in that startup? Did he go after Kyler Murray?
So it's funny you say that. It's it would say right around let's say, you know what, because he still has youth, so he goes a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
In this particular startup, he went, let's see, how come I can't find it? Oh, okay. He went at the 605. And here's
That's pretty early, yeah.
Yeah, so Mendoza and Dak went ahead of him. Okay? And here's the 4 QBs that went after CJ Stroud. Goff, Mayfield, Shook, Darnold, Bryce Young. So you see what happens there.
Yes.
Shook is the last one that you feel good about.
Yeah, right now the ADP is that Shook goes right ahead of. Well, let me see. We'll start it since May 1st. We'll go May 1st till now.
And what is it about Stroud that you think he could be a riser? Because I tend to agree with you here. 24 years old, CJ Stroud. I mean, that's his best asset right now is his age, right? And then people like the weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I think for CJ though, it's been like, he's been hated on pretty terribly. I think there was also that, to use a Podfather term, the vividness bias of him really falling on his face in the playoffs, right? And I think that has really soured people on him. They're just like almost embarrassed to draft him. It's like you're like, I just drafted CJ Stroud. Don't tell anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's also because he, if you drafted him his sophomore year, so to speak, and you took him at the 102, 101, I mean, that's where he was kind of, going. And I think we've learned our lesson now with that. I mean, you see it right now that, well, I guess Caleb's done it for a couple of years. Drake May's done it for a couple of years. But, people aren't going to trust 1 year of production and just like, I mean, look at Jaxson Dart, right? Like Jaxson Dart a couple of years ago, he would have been like pick 103 just with that small sample size. Now people are, okay, I'll take him in round 2, maybe late round 1. This happened with Justin Herbert, if you remember too, right? Like after his rookie season, people shot him up to the 102, and then it was disappointing next year.
And then the backup. Yep. Yes. Yeah. He fell down and then came back up. I think you're going to see something like that with Stroud, where it's sort of the stock recorrection, where it's like he was too high at one point. Now he's too low. Probably somewhere in between. I mean, if you think about what Stroud really is and what he represents, he's a really solid QB2 in fantasy, right? Like, that's what he is. Like,
there's a floor there. He's not gonna be one of those guys that gets 7 fantasy points and you're like, on a bad day he's gonna give you that 14, 15, and then there's obviously upside with that with Nico Collins and all those.
He's as steady as you go. That's it. So my big faller is someone that is it's kind of interesting. It's a life lesson, because the mantra in many ways of this show is be ready to be wrong. Always be ready to change your opinion on something based off of how that information and new information comes to light. And RJ Harvey. Ooh. RJ Harvey was someone who I was singing praises of pre-draft. I loved RJ Harvey as a prospect. I still love RJ Harvey as a football player. I think he's a good football player. It's a lot like the run out for Kenny Gainwell in some ways. I actually think Kenny Gainwell is probably a better all-around football player than RJ Harvey, period, full stop, but that's not the point. The point is that I loved Kenny Gainwell coming out, but the NFL sort of pigeonholed him as a pass-down only back. That was all he was. Well, I think what we saw with RJ Harvey, and RJ Harvey right now going as like RB26 in startups and, on Keep Trade, all this stuff, the value is basically he's a borderline RB2. I don't even – how is this possible? Like, he's Javonte Williams' age. He's never done anything. He's going to probably only get one contract. He's now behind J.K. Dobbins, and there's another rookie who's come in who's a better all-around, all-purpose running back. Where does R.J. Harvey fit in, and how is he going to get me fantasy points in 2026? How is he going at this valuation? I think it's going to fall precipitously.
So you think even though he's down about 7 or 8 spots to RB28, like he's out of the RB40, he's in the RB40 range this time next year?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that like you think we're going to start thinking about him how we think of like Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah.
Someone like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the signs aren't good. Well, first of all, that team has used a committee for, they'll sprinkle in like, Jaleel McLaughlin last year and guys like that. Remember Tyler Batty? Bidet, he's getting sprinkled in. But,
yes, he is getting exactly sprinkled in. Yes,
exactly. He's getting wiped clean. But it's interesting is because they took R.J. Harvey like a full round ahead of where everyone thought he was going to go. So they reached for him. So maybe he's just not dead yet, but the problem was he really didn't do much except he did catch a lot of touchdowns. That was interesting. And, you've been playing fantasy long enough where, that's not sticky year to year.
No, touchdowns in and of themselves are not sticky, let alone receiving touchdowns out of the backfield. Probably not very sticky. And the other thing here is like the biggest damning piece of information for me was that when Dobbins went down, they tried to be like, R.J. Harvey's the guy, and they just couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He did have some big games. I still love R.J. Harvey. Let me just tell you. I just think that this isn't a me take. This is me thinking what they take. And they brought J.K. Dobbins back. J.K. Dobbins saying, I'm going to be the RB1 in fantasy this year. Like, he feels like he's a starter. And then on top of that, Jonah Coleman comes in, and they're like, yeah, he can pass block.
Oh, that's the death sentence thing. Because
you didn't have someone who could pass block?
That's right.
Are they talking about you, RJ? So it's like there's just sort of these little things, and who's to say that Jonah Coleman isn't just straight up better than RJ Harvey? That's not like a crazy take. Like, I'm not saying he specifically is. I'm saying it's what are the odds? Like 40%, 50%? I don't know. They're closer to that than they are to zero. Like, he's definitely in the running of being a guy who plays ahead of him. It's possible. They're not just going to throw him out there because he's a second-round pick. That's not going to work.
I never heard the pass blocking quote, and that is a death sentence for anyone. Like that's the key to getting on the field is being able to protect the quarterback. We love the fantasy stuff, and that's nothing to do with fantasy.
Nothing.
But that's the coach speak quote that you should underline when you hear it and log it because that means you can get on the field. Let me ask you this: this would be a dynasty trade if you want to get out of R.J. Harvey. You think he's a falling knife. Let's bring it back to Travis Hunter. Which one of those guys would you rather have on your dynasty roster?
Why do you have to do this to me? I guess probably R.J. Harvey. I don't know. I don't even know.
Okay, all right. I didn't think
it's close. I mean, yeah.
Or I'll give you your choice. Like, okay, I'm going to take R.J. Harvey off of you, but I'll give you a choice. One of the 1-year guys, Devontae Adams or Mike Evans. You could have either one.
Evans.
So you want Evans over R.J. Harvey?
Yeah, if Evans is a starter in the league that I'm playing in, obviously, right? In other words, I don't mean a starter on my team because that could mean my team sucks. I mean a starter in the league that I play in. Like, for sure, no matter what roster he's on, he'd be a starter type of thing. It's a deep, type of thing. Then I want Mike Evans, because that means because where he's going to play, he could be redraft. Where's he going right now? Redrafting in best ball
in like the 4th round,
right?
Yeah.
Like that's a real wide receiver.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about San Francisco. Where's the value in San Francisco? Because that's a question I wanted to ask you. What do you think? Like, because I think there's a sneaky player there that I hate even mentioning his name, but I'll just leave it to you. Where do you think the value lies in the San Francisco passing game?
I mean, I was going to say in Mike Evans, right? Like,
it could for
right.
sure.
Now you said you don't like Deshaun Stribling, right? I'm curious about that because he set up there. Hey, I'm giving you the exact. I want to give you the exact number on Mike Evans right now. Yeah, Mike Evans is pick 44. That's the end of the 4th round. So I would. It's funny you say it because I would say Mike Evans is the sneaky value here, but again, that doesn't come without risk. Where do you think that there's some hidden value?
Well, I do think it's Mike Evans as well, but I also think like
Jake Tonjes.
He could actually because when's Kittle back? I mean,
if you're betting that Kittle's out 4 games, Tonjes is a touchdown or bust guy, right? But he's in play.
Yeah,
right?
He's in play. But I just wonder, like Pearsall, Stribling, Christian Kirk.
I forgot about Kirk. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Christian Kirk?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a minute. Christian Kirk is an NFL football player who's been targeted pretty consistently over his career.
Yeah, it's a good one.
On a team where if you're a pro and you just run the right route, you're open across the middle. And I don't know, I've heard weirder things than, I don't know, Christian Kirk sees 110 targets in San Francisco and, just has a Wan'Dale Robinson-esque season.
This is a good take here, Jax. This is a good take.
I don't even like saying it, but I just think it's possible, and he's free everywhere.
Wide receiver 104 in the consensus Dynasty rankings.
I bet he finishes higher than a wide receiver 104. That's my take.
Sad. That's a good one. You know what? We often joke that there's no such thing as a fantasy football sleeper anymore, right? I think Christian Kirk qualifies as a real, because we know all the players. Yeah. Nobody wants him. Doesn't get drafted. Kyle Shanahan offense. Mike Evans. He hasn't been the picture of consistent health. And then you're talking about a rookie that they drafted because of the blocking.
Right.
So wide receiver 104. Here's who's going around him: Xavier Legette, Deontay Thornton, and Isaiah Bond.
Right.
Oh yeah. Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 105. Calvin Ridley 106. I mean, these are the type of players, guys that are not on teams or that are, this is literally the dynasty graveyard right here. The dynasty graveyard. So, Christian Kirk, you could see it, man. You take him, you get him as a throw-in, and then you have at least a month of 5 for 70, 6 for 48. Those 10 PPR points that if you're playing in a league that starts 10 or more players, he's your last flex option.
Right. I there's obviously a floor where he just doesn't play. I get that.
Easy cut him.
He's not guaranteed for playing time. I freely admit that. And they did just draft Stribling. They do have Pearsall and they have Evans. So he could be a guy that doesn't play. I see that. But there's also a world where Stribling is just not the starter. And it's Pearsall, Kirk, and Evans. And Kirk commands targets at a somewhat normal level that he's commanded his whole career in an offense that's a little bit exciting, and he's the wide receiver 42 or 48 or something, where he's just, he's getting 6, like you say, 5 for 70, and you're like, Christian Kirk again, Now, I think part of the reason nobody likes him is there's not really any conceivable ceiling. I mean, I guess the ceiling comes from the inevitable Mike Evans hamstring injury. When then they're like, whoa, we're really searching for some answers at wide receiver. That's probably the only way that there's any real ceiling in Christian Kirk, where then he's actually in the running for wide receiver 1 on that team. Well, not being weird. That's real.
Yeah, so fine. So week 8, when injuries hit and there's bye chaos and all that stuff, and you look down at your roster and you're like, okay, Mike Evans is out this week. Ricky Pearsall has been shot in the ass or whatever he's,
yeah,
and
right.
And Stribling has got 6 catches on the entire year. No, that's
right.
That's a true. I said it before, but you don't see many true end of the roster clogger types that actually have upside. That's a very good call.
And I hate it. Just so you know, that's what we call dirty production, though. It's one of those things where if you're in a deep league, you can find a guy. I traded for him last year and it didn't work out, but I still sort of have him on one of these rosters where I traded for him for dirty production, and
couldn't drop him, right?
Yeah. Well, I am a pack rat when it comes to these players, but I play in mostly deep leagues too. But he's the definition of both a roster clogger on a shallow league and a potential upside play if you're very shallow at wide receiver, where you've just got a couple of guys that you can throw in there. And I'm generally built that way. So he's not even like a roster clogger on that particular roster. He's just one of the sort of 7 or 8 wide receivers I've got.
As much as we like these deep leagues, these start 13 type of stuff, I think that, I was just thinking about the other day that I think I'm getting back into the shallower stuff. I'm playing more shallower formats because I think it keeps I don't know. You love the deeper too, so I guess. But,
I think maybe 12 by 12s are fine. That's plenty.
That's deep. That's still deep.
That's
10
deep.
is, I think, 10 is like
10
9
feels
we say
a little
is shallow.
Yeah, 9 and 10 is shallow. 11
shallow.
is probably standard. 12, 13 is deep. Right. I play in a 14 by 14, which feels super deep. Very, very difficult.
Keep people engaged in that one.
It is hard. You really have to either go in or out. Like right now, my team is. I have like two good players. It's like Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert because everything else is stripped to picks and everything. So yeah, it's a totally different type of play. I mean, it's very difficult.
It's
very
hard
difficult
to dig out of those holes, man. Because that's what happens.
That team that I just mentioned was 2-time champion. Not last year, the 2 years before that. Last year fell short. I realized I have to really, so it's a very dramatic move. You can't just stand pat in those leagues because you just get bled dry.
Right, because if you lose a player, like one player, and God forbid 2 or 3,
yes,
your season's over in week 6.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
there's no replacing.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go.
Those are brutal.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
And again, that's why I've enjoyed playing a lot of FFPC, like because those leagues are a little more shallow, start 9, and
yes.
I like the mix, but I find those leagues like at least you always feel like you have a chance. You know?
Yes, that's true. Speaking of having a chance, we had a chance to talk to Mr. Alan Seslowsky. Alan, tell the people where they can find you. We'll probably have one more little topic before I let you go, but I do want to let everybody hear where they can find you at Rotowire. Tell the people.
So Alan _Seslowsky. I am now an underscore. Jax, I fell for the boomer hack. I don't know if you know about this, right?
Tell me about it. I'm sure I'm susceptible.
This is a public service message for everyone. I'm telling you, these hackers are getting so clever. I was on a podcast, just like if I was on with you right here, and I was on with some guy, and he was so nice to me on the podcast. Then I get off the podcast, and there's a link, there's a DM from him in my Twitter, and it says, "Hey, it was great having you on the podcast. I'm in this podcast contest. Can you vote for me for like whatever?" And I go, "This fucking guy wants me to vote for," like, I was like, you know what? He was so complimentary and all this stuff. So I go there, I click on the link, and my Twitter account, which wasn't huge, it was a few thousand people, but I spent like 15 years, like, getting it how I want to. And my whole account was seized, right? And Twitter has no help. You actually were DMing me on the old account. I told you that's not my account anymore. Don't go over there. So if you ever get it, and it was like posting about Bitcoin, and so I tried to do all the customer service stuff for Twitter, and they have no human help. Finally, I get a hold of someone who knows someone at Twitter. They get me my account back, and they think I'm the hacker, and they just like wiped it out. Yeah. So bottom line is I had to do Alan _. I'm the dreaded _Seslowsky now. Wow. Don't click on any links. I'm telling. We used to make fun of our parents for stuff like this.
You know what's crazy? I sent the OTC FFB link to everybody. I was like, "Hey, check out my thing that I'm doing."
Nobody clicks on it.
No, listen, the best one. You'll love this. So a lot of people, of course, may not have. That's fine. No begrudging, but
no, meaning like because they think you're a hacker.
Yes. So Andrew Cooper, my good friend Andrew Cooper, he messages back. He goes, "Look, before I click on anything, I need to make sure it's you. Can you say a random, Boston Red Sox player so I know it's you, Scott?" And I go, "Marty Barrett." He goes, "All right, fine, thanks, bro." I was like, so he literally had. He's like, "I just don't trust any of this shit anymore. I'm not clicking on anything." I'm like, "Bro, it's me, Marty Barrett, FT Dubs. Don't let anybody tell you, whatever." And I just went off on this Red Sox.
In the future. It's going to be like, hey, your voice is going to be copyable AI. I'm telling you, it's the craziest thing.
The world will be so lucky when they can copy that voice of mine.
I know. I'm telling you, AI. Have you messed around with AI at all?
Yeah.
Are you using it for your work? How are you guys integrating it with work?
Look, everybody's using AI. I find it to be, an assistant. Someone who can tell me what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
I find it to be something that can help me with, hey, I'm cooking something at home, but I don't have this. I just have that. Print me the recipe for the thing that I was trying to do, but I only have this instead of that. Make sure I don't fuck this up. Or like I do a million things.
Do you do any research, like fantasy football, like bringing stuff together?
Like when I'm driving, I'll talk to the AI and be like, "Hey, what about this?" And then they'll say some stupid shit because AI is fucking dumb. Yeah. And I'm like, "Listen, you're a fucking idiot. Stop saying that because you sound stupid. Now listen, what I need you to do." I talk to him like that. I have so much fun with it. I talk to him like he's it's so much fun. Because you can say these things like, "You know what? You're right. I'm sorry." You're like, nobody would say it. Be like, "Fuck you. Don't tell me I'm stupid." Right. So it's just really incredible to have these conversations. I absolutely love them. They're entertaining for me, but then I'll also get some information and be like, "Listen, go do this right, you dumb fuck." And then,
great.
I asked you a very specific question. I always say, I asked you, boom, boom, boom. Can you please do it the way I asked and stop doing it? You're being very insubordinate. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, no, so anyway, that's the long short of Alan _Seslowsky. AI is going to get and kill you and get all of us. But at where I work over at Rotowire, they're a very AI forward company. Like they kind of, I'm glad they do jam it down our throats. They really they force us like once a month. There's a class mandatory have to take. Yeah. Because of idiots like me that are clicking on links. Also, we have to do our
Absolutely.
So.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you finish, but we're going to do one more. I got to ask you, Jonathon Brooks, or Rico? No, not Rico Dowdle, or Chuba Hubbard. Sorry.
Right. I mean this
Jonathon Brooks or Chuba Hubbard.
It's a dynasty take. It has to be Jonathon Brooks, right?
Okay. So what about just for 2026?
Right. I'd still think it's Jonathon Brooks.
That's kind of the question.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that also we just Trevor Etienne, you don't care. I still think that that's a possibility, right? I mean, I'm not dumping him on it. Have you cut him off any rosters?
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Right, him, Taj Brooks, all those guys. You're holding on to all those last year day 3 guys.
What's interesting? I'll leave the people with a game theory tip. Whenever I'm cutting, because that's the other thing too. By the way, we all do the thing. We have our roster full. The draft is coming up, and you have a first, 3 seconds, 4 thirds, and you're not going to be able to fit these guys on your roster. So you should really think about that. That's one of the reasons that you always trade for future first too, because by the time you put all those rookies on your roster, then you're like, cut 17 players. Well, what the fuck did I even pick these motherfuckers for?
It happens to me all the time.
It happens to everybody all the time. Yeah. So anyway, but when you're doing that, you do want to have a plan for that before the draft. So that's number one. But subsequent, you have to cut all these players. When I'm looking at cutting players, I prioritize running backs as DNCs. I try to almost always split the ties by going to a different position. Cut a different position than running back, because running backs are any man on a 53. Trevor Etienne, while he's the third stringer, I'd rather cut Rashad Bateman more difficultly than Trevor Etienne.
Well, let me ask this, because I have that same situation where I have the Taj Brooks, Trevor Etienne guys, and I'm looking at Michael Mayer and Pat Freiermuth on my roster, and we had a lot of hope for those guys, but I mean it's probably over, right, for both of those guys?
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's a tough part too. Obviously, is it a tight end premium? How many tight ends do I have ahead of them? A lot of times I'll look. It's a non-tight end premium, and I have Likely and McBride and
here, I'll give you the situation.
Laporta. It's what the fuck do I need Mayer for? I don't need
That's obvious. You're
right.
I'm glad you said that, because you're right, because that gives people permission to cut this guy who you were. But I have Travis Kelce in this one league ahead of him. We know this is the last hurrah. I have Pat Freiermuth.
Give me the roster.
The whole roster?
Yes. Go right down. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean,
let's do it. We'll end with a roster review. Okay. People love this shit.
Yeah. Okay.
This is their favorite thing they could ever do.
Roster reviews are their favorite?
People love it.
Do you do private roster reviews with people?
Not so much. I'm busy.
I know.
You can't afford me.
Because I see Scott do that with the people. I was like, oh my God, that sounds horrible to sit there and do all that. Okay. Roster review. You really want this? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. You asked for it.
All right. So my quarterback. So it's super flex. It's 3 receivers, 3 flex, and it's a 1.5 tight end premium.
Okay.
3 receivers, 3 flex plus the QB.
12 team.
12 team. So my run. I'm good on running back. I have Derrick Henry and Javonte. They're my 2 starters.
Okay.
Okay, we're good there. My 2 quarterbacks are Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers. Not good. Yeah, not good. But this is where it gets good, Jax. Okay. I have Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Drake London.
Woo.
That's my threesome.
Great.
You see where I put the assets.
Yep.
Okay. I told you I have Travis Kelce as the tight end.
Okay.
Okay. Now here's my 3 flexes: Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison, and Aaron Jones.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want me to keep going with all the garbage on my roster?
I need to hear the garbage now. Go ahead. Okay. Just go fast.
Right. So now I'll go fast. So I loaded up on the quarterbacks because of my situation. So I have Bajent, Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins, and then a bunch of backups like Mason Rudolph, Drew Lock, Trey Lance, Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton. I mean, you see what I'm doing here. And then 4 more roster spots: Marshawn Lloyd, Sean Tucker, Malik Washington, Pat Freiermuth, Keenan Allen. And then a bunch of then I got 3 taxi guys: Rocket Sanders, Trevor Etienne, and Kalen Black.
You have it's only a 3 taxi
3 taxi I hate. Yeah.
But that's all you can have is 3?
That's all you can have is 3 taxi.
Okay. So it seems to me like you've got some quarterbacks that you could definitely let go that may never play again.
Like who? Like Andy Dalton and Derek Carr?
Yeah. I think Dalton's done, right?
I mean, he's listed as the QB2 on the Eagles.
Is he really?
Right now he is.
That's crazy.
I mean,
how old is he?
He is 38 years old, but if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, man, right now here's what the QB room looks like. 38? It's Dalton, Tanner McKee, and then they drafted Cole Payton. Why can't he be the next Kirk Cousins for like 6 weeks?
Yeah, he could actually. God, and what's the league think? Like, who's the most rostered, non-rostered player? Like, are there quarterbacks available? Are there like
no? It's like Zacchaeus is the highest projected.
The
guy.
league values quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, probably because I have 7 of them on my damn roster.
I don't mind that because it's not like, I mean, you're not playing anybody over Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? You're not going to play.
Right, I mean, but I could let some of those guys go because look, these are the quarterbacks that are on the waiver wire.
That's what I want to hear.
Minshew, Milroe, Mariota, and Will Levis and Rattler.
Yeah, I'd rather have Milroe than.
I didn't even know he was. Yeah. I mean, really?
Yeah.
If Sam Darnold goes down, don't you think Drew Lock would be the guy?
Well, one of them, you have both of them at that point. Then at least you have them. And actually, Milroe is worth starting. Dalton. Right. Here's what happens. Dalton. If he is starting, I don't think anybody pays you for him.
I might need him.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe, but if you're banking, at that point you're banking on him, you're probably in trouble.
Based on your advice, I did it with Derek Carr. I did the Milroe pickup, and I dropped Derek Carr.
Yeah, for sure. You got to pick up Milroe.
And then here's some of the other pickups I was doing. Like Justice Hill is out there. I mean,
you got to have Justice Hill over that quarterback too, I think.
Right, and then Austin Eckler.
You have Derrick Henry.
Yes, that's
you need Justice Hill immediately.
Okay, all right. So you see, I've neglected. See, if I'd used your tool, I wouldn't have neglected this roster.
Yes, that's right. Right.
But back to the original premise, though. Like Pat Freiermuth, when you only have Travis Kelce on your roster, you would clip him like that?
No, I'd hang on to Freiermuth. I mean, because I actually think you'll start Freiermuth. You'll start Freiermuth.
Okay,
maybe not every day or whatever, but he might be in your lineup. I mean.
Just as a desperation, maybe he catches a touchdown, and I hit it on the right week.
Freiermuth was okay. I'd have to look at his finish. I mean, he was okay. He's not like I'm not like excited to start him, but you gotta. I mean, he's top 20 starting tight end in the NFL. I mean, he's somewhere in there. Like
I don't know, man. Yeah. They got Darnell Washington. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. They have all these other guys.
It's not great.
Yep. Do you really enjoy that roster review? That seemed like that you did not enjoy that. Yeah. No. You were good. Yeah. But I'm saying it seems like roster review is you thought that would be a good thing, and it ended up being boring for you.
Was it boring for me?
Yeah. Was it?
No, I don't think so because you just got Jalen Milroe and Justice Hill. I think those are great pickups. You need to start. There was some actual intel here. The thing that I feel is that you have to always be churning the bottom of your roster, looking for because Justice Hill is an injustice to be on the waiver wire.
So just drop Drew Lock then for Jalen Milroe. At least that's the guy that you would do that too, right?
I think Jalen Milroe for sure over some of these because you have Penix too. You have Penix and Cousins, so you're not really starting Dalton if who gets hurt. Rodgers. Well,
remember now is what's his name is on Las Vegas now. Cousins is on Las Vegas, so right because he's theoretically could start. You think he's going to start week 1?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think Cousins starts.
That's a bold take. I mean, I guess that's what they want to do, right? I mean, number 1 overall pick is going to sit, huh? We haven't seen that since
start.
That is good.
Since Mahomes, number 1 overall. I'm sorry. I was just thinking. Yeah, you're right. Maybe number 1 overall is a little bit different. I don't know. Maybe he won't start. Maybe you're right. You think Mendoza comes out of the box the starter?
I mean, how could he? If he beats out Kirk Cousins in training camp, how can they not start him week 1? But you're right. Now you're making me think about this. I mean, you remember when Deshaun Watson was a rookie? Tom Savage started week 1, and at halftime they switched.
They were like,
fucking. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like that was like the veteran deference era. That was like the Jeff Fisher sort of like old school coaches. Now I know Brady wants Mendoza to be developed.
I think Watson was ready to go. He was just stuck in the training room getting rubbed down.
That's right. He was all backed up.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we're going to let it go.
Jax, you're the best, man.
Thanks, buddy.
You know me, and not only am I glad for our friendship, I'm a huge fan of
Thanks,
what you
buddy.
do.
I can't wait to go on your show. Send me a show sheet. I'll be prepared, unlike normal.
There's not as much structure as you think on that show. It's a legit show, but there's not much structure. I always send the show sheet to the producers because they need it, and it's like a fake show sheet. It's like from like 3 years ago.
The running joke is on Dynasty Underground that Trav will always do the show sheet, and I'll say, "Wait, there's a show sheet?"
Right,
so,
right.
Wait, what? All right, cool.
I mean, it's in here, the show sheet.
Let me glance at it. Let me give it to me. Let me glance at it. I always say, "I'll glance." Oh, that's a good one. That's good. There's words and everything. I can roll with this. Let's do it. So.
You're the best, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Hey, Alan Seslowsky, on behalf of everybody here at Undrafted, on behalf of everybody here at OTC. On behalf of the greatest podcast producer to ever walk the land, Mr. Philadelphia, Michael P. Duncan, you have been joined by the great Alan Seslowsky. I am Jax Falcone, and we are out.